Hey everyone! I want to go ahead and jump right into the message of this video because I've tried recording this and I keep talking too much. So I'm going to try to just get to the points because I really want to encourage someone out there and I feel like someone needs this. So in this year of 2018, I've really struggled with body image, how I viewed myself. And for those of you who know me, who follow me, you know that I work out and I've lost a significant amount of weight. I've lost 60 pounds. Woo! I'm really proud. That's not an easy feat. That did not happen overnight. That happened over some years, to be honest. But I'm glad that I'm here. I'm really grateful that this is where I am today. But I want to share with you that in this past year, I have really had just a poor self-image of myself. And the issue was now, it just seemed to me that it was no longer enough for me to be healthy. It now seemed like I had to have these idealized parts. Now, what do I mean by idealized parts? It no longer seems enough that I lost weight, that I'm healthy, that I can run, I have great stamina or whatever. I mean, I can still have better, but it seemed like that was no longer enough. It now seemed that I had to have these idealized parts, meaning my breast had to be this big, this lifted, my butt had to be this firm, this round, my, waist had to be this snatched, all these sort of things. It now seemed like certain parts of me had to be the ideal look. And a lot of this frustration for me really came from social media. We know it's 2018, right, that a lot of photos are enhanced, right? We understand that. But I was also following women that I admired, that I love for their personality and the things that they do, fashion, art, whatever. And, I follow them on Instagram or I follow them on YouTube. And I would sometimes just look at them like, man, they look so good. Like, and I would think, why don't I, look like that or have certain parts that look like that? Or like they work out, like am I not doing the same things or what have you? And I would find out that some of these women I followed had cosmetic surgery in some way or cosmetic enhancements in some way. Now, this isn't a knock to anyone who's had those, but let me tell you what that did to me. Seeing that, you would think that I would then be like, oh, okay, I don't have to worry about that. That was cosmetics. They weren't naturally like that. I don't have to worry about that. But that didn't actually make me feel that way. I still felt inferior. I still felt that, yeah, these are enhanced, but not everyone knows that. And granted, that person just walked in the street, people are just going to be like, man, she looks good. And, even on photos, like people may even know that they're enhanced or whatever, or certain parts of them they have surgery on, but you still see them like commenting under them being like, man, girl, your body looks great and all that sort of stuff. And it was just really bothering me because I was beginning to think that, the enhanced version or the enhanced parts of some of these women looked better than what I had naturally. And to be honest, guys, it was bothering me so much to the point that I was actually considering having cosmetic surgery, having my breast done, because that was for whatever reason the enemy was trying to like bother me the most, like get in my ear the most about, amongst other things about me physically. But that was just the one that kept coming up to my mind the most, that I was really bothered by, that I felt like, and maybe I should get a breast augmentation, maybe I should have, this done. And it was, not augmentation, cause that's different from, anyways, guys, there's different terms, but augmentation is not the correct term for what I was looking at. But, it was just really bothering me. So much to the point that I would be bothered if I didn't work out, because I'm feeling like, oh, if I don't work out, I'm not going to get this desired look. I'd be anxious if I didn't work out. I'd be anxious if I ate certain things. I would literally sometimes stare at a dessert that I wanted to have, and I would be afraid to eat it because I'm afraid that I'm going to undo anything that I worked hard for. And that's one thing. When you allow fear and anxiety to cloud your mind, you do not have sound judgment, because one dessert, guys, especially for someone like me who works out like 4 times a week, and eats healthy, like having a dessert, even if I had one small dessert every day, will not damage me. That's not how the body works. That's not how food works, but when you have anxiety and fear, it clouds your mind and you do not have sound judgment, and thus truth cannot come to the forefront of your mind and actually tell you what actually is real and what actually is just your fear talking to you, or allowing you to have these unrealistic thoughts. But anyway, so know that fear and anxiety cloud sound judgment. But anyway, so I was becoming anxious about these things, and it was bothering me. It was on my mind every day. When I woke up, I would literally be looking at myself, poking at areas, thinking like, man, I wish this was better. I would be crying. It was a real deep thing for me. And, you know, especially from someone who lost a lot of weight, weight and appearance was always something that I was always kind of sensitive to. But this was just becoming something more where it was just like, man, I lost all this weight and it's not even enough. Like, I had to now have my everything tucked and lifted and firmed and all this sort of stuff, and it was bothering me. And it got to the point where I just, like, you know, finally told God about it, because even though he knew, I didn't like come out and just tell him, but I just told him, like, you know what, God, I'm frustrated. I know that these things are enhanced either digitally or from surgery, but I still feel like I'm not enough. I'm actually contemplating surgery, and I don't want that. I genuinely don't want that for me. But I don't like, for whatever reason, I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like what I do is no longer enough. It's not satisfying. I need help because I can't think my way through this anymore. And I tell you, that was the beginning of breakthrough for me. Just laying it all out and telling God, like, I know the truth, but for some reason it's not settling in me. You know, I need your help. And when I tell you, there's so much I can tell you, but I'm going to try to just hit you with some points of encouragement from the things God told me, from the things he began to show me. Because I tell you, October, last month, was the beginning of, oh my gosh, I really have begun loving myself. Like, I like how I look. I have so much freedom. A lot of the weight of pressure is off. And it doesn't mean that, you know, I feel like still I'm going to have moments when I'm going to look at things or feel like, man, you know, whatever, but it's not nearly as bad as where I was so self-deprecating before. I just feel so free, and I love how I look, and I'm, you know, I embrace the parts of me. But let me hit you with some points real quick. One of the things that God showed me is that, Amanda, you're more than your parts. So, you know, we sometimes make emphasis on certain things being the most important, but really, you know, that's part of beauty standards that we created. And that's another thing that God showed me, is that God did not create beauty standards. The only thing that he has asked of us is to take care of our temple, our bodies, right? And so as long as you are doing that, you are taking care of yourself, then you do not need to chase a certain standard of beauty. God did not create those. The only thing he's asking of us is to take care of ourselves, you know, being healthy, you know, but there is no requirement. And really, there is, you know, no requirement of any sort that if you have a certain beauty standard that, you know, you are free to enjoy life, you are free to find love, you are free to, you know, all these things. So we have to remember that beauty standards is something that is sometimes created from trends, sometimes created culturally, or through certain seasons of life in our climate or whatever. But we see beauty standards have changed throughout time. So we can't allow our feelings to be based on something that is always changing, because then our emotions, how we feel about ourselves, will always change. So remember, beauty standards are not like the law. It is not going to be the thing that defines your life. But if you let it, then that when another beauty standard comes and goes and changes, you will also fluctuate. So we have to be mindful of that. Another thing to be mindful of, one thing that was probably one of the most impactful things God said to me was, oh, and I pray it comes back to me right now. It was, oh my gosh, I can't even, it's losing me right now. But basically what it was like, you will always, what is it? Something around the lines of, oh my gosh, it is, I'm sorry, y'all. Maybe I'll do that in another video and I'll talk about that, because that's probably a point on its own. But, one thing I will say is, be more than just what is out here. Because when you are so amazing in here, It comes out in here, and it is something different. And what I mean by that is the way that you show up in the world, the way that you appear in front of the world should be a reflection of what is in here, right? So if you are a creative person, let that show out here. The way you value yourself, the way that you think about yourself, if you think you're funny, you think whatever, the way that you value and see yourself should be reflected out here. You know what I'm saying? So and that's what I began doing. Like, I love my, I have big thighs. I have big thighs. And I have a small waist, so I like to accentuate my waist. I like, I like to show my curves through my, my thighs. I like my legs, and that whole wanting to get work done on my breasts, again, guys, fear and anxiety cloud sound judgment. When I got off of that, when I got free from that, and, the things God spoke to me about, and the things I began just having revelation on, like, I began to look at myself like, why am I complaining about my breasts? My breasts look fine. Like, they look good. I don't know why I'm complaining about them, but again, that's what fear and anxiety does. You don't think straight. You're in this cloud of just negativity and fear, and it chokes you. Oh my gosh. But I want you to know that you're more than your parts. And I'm telling you guys, I'll come back with another video, because what I wanted to say was so, oh my gosh, it's something that really started the kickoff for me of just having a different mindset. But I'll come back and I'll do another video on that, because that could be a topic on its own. But know you're more than your parts. Beauty standards are not God-given. And I'm not saying that, beauty standards itself is a sin. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that don't let that be the thing that defines you, because that fluctuates. Don't let that be something that you change along with it, because when beauty standards change, are you going to change too? We can't have, that's just something that's not healthy. So you got to know who you are, so that when beauty standards come and go, you still feel beautiful. All right. And the other thing I say, just take away from that is, or from this video, is just remember that anxiety and fear cloud sound judgment. So talk to someone, bring it before God and allow him to begin speaking to you, but also know that he's put good people in your life, and find those good people. No raggedy people, people who are going to encourage you, right? Anyways, I'm going to go. I hope this encourages you. If you want more kind of videos like this from me, I'm really passionate about this topic, and just letting women know that you're beautiful, and that don't be bound by this, because man, it is a prison to be in. I tell you, it is a prison to be in. I want you to know you are beautiful, and you do not need these enhancements. If if you feel like you need them to be acceptable, know that you do not need them. That you are beautiful, and that I'm so passionate about. So if you're interested in more videos like this, let me know. I can do that. But anyways, I'ma leave you. Love you and leave you. I forgot where I heard that from, but I like that. But anyways, bye guys. Mwah! Have a good day.